Hi there guys and welcome to today's video.
Hello and welcome to today's video. I'm James Wilson and welcome to... Oh, sorry there. I'm James Wilson.
Matthew Rami.
And today on Whoadix Reviews, we, as you've probably gathered, we are going to be doing another very interesting Series 9 topic.
Yes, today we are going to be answering the question that's been on everyone's mind since Dark Water. How the hell did we go from John Simm's Master to Michelle Gomez's Missy?
How the hell did we go from a laser screwdriver to that phone iPad thing that Missy had?
How did we go from Homeless and Blonde to An Umbrella and Mary Poppins?
How the hell did we go from a psychopath to a flirtatious...
Psychopath?
Yeah. I think you get the point.
Let's answer all them questions!
Enjoy! So then guys, for a very long time now, ever since Dark Water was revealed, a lot of you had been telling us theories, speculations on the possibility of how John Simm's Master could have possibly regenerated, or as the Master has done in the past, stolen another body. So today we're going to be discussing John Simm right from the end of his tenure as the Master in End of Time right to Missy.
Exactly, yes, it's a question that's been asked and another one that we expect to be answered. Moffat is the type of writer who likes to answer every question, bar a few that we maybe still are wanting the answer to, but...
And there are some he will never answer, which, well, we hope he will never answer.
Yeah, but with Moffat you never know because he's good at linking small little things in the past to something in the present, and I think the Master's character is too big of a part of the Doctor universe to just ignore. I don't think Moffat's the type to completely ignore. I mean, he changed the Master into a woman. You can't ignore that we've went from John Simm to Michelle Gomez.
Yeah,
so I think
it's almost ignoring John Simm's Master, really.
Exactly. It's a question that we've got to get answered, and you know, a lot of people said, you know, they complained with the Series 8 finale, oh, we didn't find out who Missy was, you know, this was a rubbish episode. Moffat wasn't going to tell us who it was within the first, 2 episodes. He likes to drag mysteries out, keep us on our toes. So I think Series 9's the perfect time with Missy being a reoccurring character, Gallifrey maybe coming back, I don't know, all these theories of Maisie Williams and Daleks and everything falling into one. I think we will find out where Michelle Gomez's Master came from.
Yeah, definitely. Now, when the Night of the Doctor had rolled around, Steven Moffat had said that he's a box set guy. He likes to have every regeneration there and accounted for. But that might only apply with the Doctor, because with the Doctor, he's the main character, so you kind of need to know every regeneration he's ever had.
Even though for 50 years we didn't know that there was a War Doctor.
Yeah, well, but anyway, technically we didn't know for 10 years, but anyway, well, 8 years.
8 years.
Yeah, I'm confusing myself. But yes, so we don't know whether Steven Moffat is a box set guy only with the Doctor or whether it applies to other Time Lords. But let's start with the end of John Simm's Master, which was in the End of Time. Of course, as we all know, the Master's body was dying after his reincarnation was faulted by his wife, Lucy, and of course at the end he had finally discovered where the 4 knocks came from that has been inside his head, that has been plaguing his mind for ever since his childhood, and it was discovered that very interlinked very well by the brilliance of Russell T Davies. He had discovered that it was the Time Lords that used the 4 knocks as a link to get to Earth, so it was all very well interlinked with each other, and the Master had discovered a new villain, a new adversary other than the Doctor,
a bigger adversary.
Yes, which was Rassilon. And so, to save not the Doctor's life, I don't think he was there to save the Doctor's life. That's my own little quirk there, because I don't think it's in the Master's nature to save anyone. You know, I think he was doing it for himself still. I think that was definitely still a very selfish act. You know, that he wanted that for himself. He wanted to kill Rassilon himself, and he was already dying anyway.
Well, he was pretty much trying to get on Rassilon's good side, you know, saying, I'm on your side, I still saved you, don't forget that. And then obviously he tried to work his way around it, realised he couldn't, and then basically lashed out at Rassilon, sending him back into the final days of the Time War.
Yeah.
Which usually, you know, back then we thought, you know, in 2007, he's gone back, 2010, sorry, I'm getting mixed up with Master appearances. In 2010, of course, back then we must have thought, he's gone back into the Time War, time locked forever. But then Mr. Moffat, of course, on the 50th anniversary, flipped everything on its head, made that Gallifrey was never destroyed in Day of the Doctor, and that is what changes a lot of things. Because now, technically, Gallifrey was never destroyed. Does that change the Master's timeline, or does that just recreate a new one? That's the bridge we've got to try and build. Yeah,
it's sort of tempering off into other alternate timelines. So you know that's very interesting.
Because there's always going to be the young Master that ran away in the. Well, I say young Master. We're delving right back into his previous incarnations because, of course, as we all know, Roger Delgado was his final incarnation.
Yeah. He
then had to steal Anthony Ainley's body, Nissa's father, which became Anthony Ainley's Master, who lasted all the way up until Survival.
Yeah.
Apparently,
did you mention the decaying Masters?
Of course, between Roger Delgado and
there was Jeremy Beavers and another actor. I keep forgetting the name of him, but yes, just to stop confusion, that was pretty much the same incarnation. In the form of the narrative, anyway, within the show. That was Roger Delgado's incarnation.
He went on to steal Nissa's father's body, who of course was still, well, technically the Master was living beyond regeneration at this point.
Yeah.
And apparently, and I don't know how this works with the Big Finish Master with the 8th Doctor, but apparently, according to comic books, after Survival, the final classic story, the Master was infected with that cat disease, or whatever the hell that disease was, and was dying once again, which led him to take the form of the venomous jizz snake that we've seen in the TV movie. And then, of course, in the TV movie, we saw him take the body of that ambulance driver, played by Eric Roberts.
I'm alive!
This Master we like to forget. And then apparently due to something, you know, obviously he was on trial. I don't know if it was something he did between Anthony Ainley's Master and Eric Roberts, but he was on trial getting sent to Skaro for some godforsaken reason. And then he was sent into the Time War, and then from then on we have no idea what happened. But, of course, he was resurrected to be the perfect warrior. And then he ran away to be human at the end of the universe, hence Derek Jacobi, and then John Simm, but then the Day of the Doctor just slashed it.
Yes.
So was there two Masters in the Time War?
Well, as we all know from the Big Finish audios, there was I don't know the name of the actor, I'm sorry, but all I know is that he played Neil's dad in The In-Betweeners.
Good enough for me.
Yeah, that's really all I know him as, but he was a baldy Master, and he was with the 8th Doctor, and Dark Eyes, that was before the Time War, wasn't it? But I don't know whether there's like 6 Dark Eyes, isn't there?
I think there's 5 now, I think.
Yeah, 5 Dark Eyes, so we don't know. Maybe the 5th Dark Eye sort of leads into the Time War.
They're too expensive, so I don't even know.
Yes, feel free to put in the comment section below, correct us if you like.
But don't spoil it.
Yeah, don't spoil it, because Matthew is planning on getting it, and then I will steal it in the middle of the night.
I've been wanting Dark Eyes for a bloody age.
So yes, there was that Master, and I highly doubt that Master had grown into Derek Jacobi, so of course the Master had probably regenerated into a younger Derek Jacobi, I suppose.
Yeah, well, he said he was fat. He turned human, of course, so they'd never find him.
No.
And he was found as a naked... Well, he said child, didn't he?
Yeah.
A naked child on the coast of the Silver Devastation, abandoned with only the fob watch.
Yeah.
So, that's of course what happened after the Time War. But, the confusion lies with, of course, he got sent back into the Time War as John Simm, so there was technically 2 Masters in the Time War, one at the very beginning and one at the very end. So we've discussed the end of John Simm's Master, sent back into the Time War, that's all we know. But then it gets even more confusing, the fact that the first time we see the Master again is as a woman in some kind of heavenly place.
Yeah.
And that is literally, there's hardly anything, there's hardly nothing there to link them together.
That's something that people would sometimes call a good thing or a bad thing. It depends on your point of views, really. But I really don't know. I mean, I do think that it is sort of an injustice to John Simm's Master. It's like Steven Moffat is trying to reboot the Master.
Yeah.
It's like just because because you change gender doesn't mean that you should completely disregard the other ones. I mean, it just felt like this was my issue back when months ago when I did a rather hate video on Missy, really. Well, hate's a strong word, more like a dislike video. But I had said that this was my issue, that there was nothing, absolutely nothing, interlinking one master to the other.
The only dialogue she said was when we were starting to get the reveal, and she said, the Doctor was like, "Which time, lady?" And she was backing away. He was backing away, and she was saying, "The one you left to die." That was it.
Yeah, and that isn't even really computing well in my mind, because
he never left the Master to die. The Master sacrificed himself to kill Rassilon. So that is literally the tiniest bit of dialogue we've got.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that means leaving her to die. Does that mean that the Doctor saved Gallifrey and then done one? I don't know. But yeah, as you were saying, rebooting the Master, it's
at least with John Simm, there were callbacks to the Axons, and there were all sorts of callbacks to the classic series. So at least there was that. But it just seems that Missy is very disjointed to the rest. I mean, just because you're not calling Missy the Master, that doesn't mean you ended Dark Water with, "I can't very well call myself the Master, can I?" And then in Death in Heaven, it was also a reference that she was the Prime Minister. So you've pretty much said out loud that she is the Master. But it still doesn't feel like that. And so this is the chance that Steven Moffat has with Michelle Gomez in Series 9 coming up. This is Steven Moffat's chance to correct that mistake and make Missy a respectable version of the Master.
Yeah.
Because when she's on Regeneration lists, when she's on with Roger Delgado, Anthony Ainley, Eric Roberts, okay, we've got to. Derek Jacobi, John Simm. When Michelle Gomez is counted, it's not that she's a woman, my God, no. It's the fact that she just feels so disjointed to that, to the Master.
And I think, a lot of people are still, even now, struggling to get to terms with it, that she is the Master. I mean, some people have even gone as far as, and I've seen a few comments, right, saying this on YouTube, people think that she's the Rani pretending to be the Master. People think that the Rani is pretending to be the Master just so the Doctor doesn't realise who she is. No. It's valid, but no. She wouldn't be the Rani and pretend to be the Master. That's just, no, the Doctor's not that stupid.
No.
So that's a theory. That just shows that people are still clinging on to the fact that she might not be the Master because she's a woman. No.
Exactly, that just proves how much people want Rani. Honestly, that just proves how much people actually wanted Missy to be the Rani. And there was a lot of people a lot smarter than us who pretty much put one and one together and knew that Missy was the Master straight away.
Missy Master.
Mistress Master, yeah, so everyone pretty much knows. So there were a lot of people much smarter than us, so it made me feel a little bit stupid after Dark Water. But yeah, I mean, it just feels very disjointed, and I feel like Steven Moffat needs to correct that in Series 9.
Yeah, I mean, the people are still refusing to accept it, and yes, it was a huge change, probably one of the biggest we've ever had. I mean, it was a very, very brave call by Moffat. Let's give him that. I mean, we give him one, and we've said this before, he's a very brave writer. I mean, to turn the Master into a woman, I don't think any writer's ever done anything so brave.
Yeah.
I mean, the closest thing to a big change was the Paradigm Daleks, and we all know how that one went. So yeah, it was a big risk, and people are still refusing to accept it. And I can see why, in a way, not because she's a woman. I mean, we were all shocked, but I'm over that now. The Master's a woman, get over it.
Yeah.
But what's still getting me is, like you said, we don't know how we got from one to the other. And it's just that lack of a connection that makes people still not quite see her as the Master yet. And I think if Moffat can make a valid connection, if that is with John Simm's return in a Regeneration, or just a small little flashback scene, or just a small little monologue from Missy herself, just to connect the two together, that will probably make a lot of fans suddenly go, okay, she's the Master now, and take her a lot more seriously.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, let's move on to our theories on the possibilities of how Missy could have possibly, how John Simm's Master could get interlinked into Series 9. Now, as we all know, it's been revealed about the cast that may be coming back into Series 9, and it was said that the leader of the Sisterhood of Karn that we knew from the Night of the Doctor, that actress is going to be returning, and in the Series 9 trailer, it was revealed with a very Sisterhood of Karn type of character that was in the background there with red velvety sort of garments on, and of course there was the fiery sticks around, and there was the quarry looking rock things, so it did look a lot like Karn, the planet Karn, and so my theory is that the Master, of course, dying and now out of the time lock, so the Master was then still dying from the end of time, was still able to go to Karn after the Doctor had saved Gallifrey on the Day of the Doctor. It was then the Master had then went to Karn and threatened them, and maybe possibly killed one of them to threaten them to give one of those goblets. Was
it the Clixium? What was it called? The Clixium can trigger your regeneration, something like that.
Yeah, the elixir. The elixir can trigger his regeneration, and then he chose the form of a woman. So.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the thing with the Master. He's the type of character who would get that desperate.
Yeah.
We don't know how much control a Time Lord can have over regeneration.
Yeah.
That's another discussion entirely. We don't know how much control they have. One day, will they just wake up and go, you know what, I want to be a woman today. I will kill myself, regenerate into a woman. I don't think it would be that easy. But the Master is probably the only Time Lord who would get so desperate. I mean, his entire life we've seen him clinging on to life, clinging on to survival. And I think it would definitely be...
It's another thing that the Doctor and the Master have in common.
Yeah, and I think the Master is the type of character who would survive at any cost. And we've seen him as a decayed creature. We've seen him as a snake sort of creature. I think the Master going from a man to a woman is just like, it's nothing. That's not even a transition to the Master. That's probably a lot easier than what he's done before. So
yeah,
it's a valid theory. You put 2 and 2 together, and I can definitely see why it's valid.
Yeah.
And of course, as we know, Missy knows where Gallifrey is. So she was obviously there when it was turned into the Pocket Universe, and then somehow escaped. So yeah, you can definitely see the theory of going back to Karn, and if the Master was to have seen the War Doctor in the Time War and found out, because obviously people forget this, the 8th Doctor in the Night of the Doctor was dying. Full stop, dying. There was no regeneration. Kaput, he was going to be dead. And if it wasn't for the Sisterhood, he would have died completely. And they were able to resurrect him and give him a new regeneration. So if the Master found out that they could do that, there's no reason to why she couldn't have went after them and forced them to do it himself.
Oh yeah, definitely. Going back to the subject about the Master being disjointed from Missy, is the fact that throughout the Master's entire regeneration so far, he's been called a renegade Time Lord, but now he's called the Queen of Evil. I mean, you can call him a renegade Time Lady. Yeah. But no one has called her that. No one has called Missy a renegade Time Lady. She's either called the Queen of Evil or she's just called Missy. So I just wanted to quickly make that point in case anyone is like, no, she's still the Master. So.
Yeah. Should I tell my theory?
Yes, of course.
I don't think that, like we said earlier on, the Master's history doesn't have to be as spelt out as the Doctor's does. And I don't want to be a pessimist, but I don't think John Simm's going to come back. No. I'd love him to, but with the Doctor, we needed to get Paul McGann back for the regeneration.
Yeah.
And they kind of CGI'd Christopher Eccleston in at the end of the Day of the Doctor to make that connection.
Yeah.
And Moffat's a box set guy, but I don't think with the Master you need to necessarily see a regeneration. I mean, through all the time we've known him/her, we've only ever seen him regenerate once. So the regeneration I don't think is a must exactly, but we need to find out how. And I think my theory for that is, I think that when he was sent back into the Time War at the end of time, I think the Master, obviously we've seen him run away once before, I think he pretty much ran away again. I think he realised that he was dying, he didn't want to stay with the Time Lords and Gallifrey, he wanted out, as he always does, he's a renegade. I think he would have stolen Missy's body, I don't think Missy is a legitimate regeneration. I think, like Eric Roberts, like Anthony Ainley, she was stolen. I don't know if she was a time lady beforehand or whatever, but he got her body. He then found a TARDIS and he'd done one back to Earth. And I think that's the connection for me, because we know that Missy has a TARDIS.
Yeah,
it's been said that she has a TARDIS.
Yeah,
and Moffat's very good.
It's been said in passing line in Death in Heaven. The Doctor just said she must have a TARDIS stowed away from somewhere, and even Missy has said herself, "I've been hopping up and down your timeline." So. Missy and the Doctor have both pretty much hinted that she has a TARDIS. And Missy obviously has nothing better to do, so she set up the whole thing with Clara, which then leads into the Omega Theory, which we released in our last video. So go and watch that now if you haven't already. There we go, plugging our other video. Knew I'd manage it somehow. But yeah, so Missy definitely does have a master. Missy definitely does have a TARDIS stored somewhere, and I think it would be great to see her TARDIS. How great would that be? You know, just to see another TARDIS in general. I mean, I was excited just to see in The Doctor's Wife to see loads of different TARDISes. I was just like, oh, yay! Which isn't overrated, screw you. But
I'm not going there.
No, please don't. But I think it would just give me a certain sense of, giddiness to see her TARDIS. And I have another theory. I think that garden, that pretty-looking garden that was in, I think that is her TARDIS. I think that's the TARDIS Gardens, because in Legopolis, and I believe in another story somewhere, the Doctor's TARDIS does have a garden.
Yeah.
So I think that maybe that garden, and it is good, that location is going to be that fountain thing that we saw at the end of Deep Breath. That is going to be relocated again in Series 9. So it might be possible that might have been Missy's TARDIS.
Yeah, one thing I will definitely give Moffat is that he makes every single word, every single bit of dialogue, every single prop, everything that he does has a meaning. I don't think anything does. I don't think there's anything that's legitimately pointless. Moffat makes everything matter, really. And that slight little line that 12 said about her having a TARDIS somewhere, and there was that prop that kept popping up, the red telephone box that kept popping up. I think her TARDIS is definitely out there, and that could definitely support your theory that she went to Karn, and it could also support mine that she just went straight back to Earth. So, yeah, she's got a TARDIS out there.
Both our theories could really have been the same one. And then...
Maybe, yeah. So I think it's pretty much confirmed she has a TARDIS, and I find it really weird that the Doctor, in the very beginning, stole a blue police box, and it would be really cool if Missy stole a red telephone box.
That would be some really beautiful irony.
Imagine them two materialising together.
That would be brilliant. I mean, obviously, Steven Moffat is wanting to go in a different direction with the Master, and of course, I'm up for that 100%. So, for those people who've heard our opinions on Missy being disjointed from the Master and don't like the idea of taking the Master in a new direction, just as well as Peter Capaldi's taking the Doctor in a new direction, I still do support the Master being a woman and the Master being the Master sort of wanting to be friends with the Doctor again, but I don't think it's ever going to be that simple. The Master is always going to want to destroy the world, and make the Doctor's life a misery, like you make my life a misery, that sort of thing. It's definitely like that.
I am the Master to your Doctor.
Yes, definitely.
And vice versa.
Yes, definitely, definitely. So yeah, and also another little point is that at the end of Deep Breath, with that fountain place, that location was never really seen again.
No,
really.
In the Dalek, we saw her drinking tea.
Yeah.
And then after that,
if that was the Nethersphere, if that was that place that we saw in Dark Water,
it can't be
the same place because it has completely the different tone. I mean, with what we saw in Dark Water, it was all iPads and it was skyscrapers. We saw car horns in the background. It was a very sort of suburban, very skyscrapers and all that, and very metallic sort of look. And with Deep Breath and that, it was all floral and it was lovely and it was all fountains and cakes and tea, So it was that sort of thing. So Deep Breath and Into the Dark have a completely different tone from what is supposedly the same place in Dark Water and Death in Heaven. So definitely does support the idea that the place in Deep Breath and Into the Dalek is the Master's TARDIS.
Well, yeah, like I said, Moffat's clever with making little things in the past come back in the future. I mean, apparently the scene from the Day of the Doctor when 12 joins his past incarnations to save Gallifrey. Apparently, we're going to see that as well.
We're also going to see. Come on, we're also going to see how the Doctor could have possibly taken the same face as Caecilius.
Yes, apparently we're going to be seeing, Capaldi's former character from the Fires of Pompeii. Apparently, he's going to be in Series 9 somehow as well. So, Moffat's good at getting things from the past and making them mean something in the future.
But like the Master, the Caecilius thing doesn't really need to happen.
It doesn't, no. But so. For me, I definitely think that there are definitive links there that support both of our theories.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So if there's anything else to talk about, I don't know. Have we covered everything? If
I think
not, we could conclude with our definitive theories.
Yes, definitely. Would you like to begin with your definitive theory?
Well, I believe that the Master got sent back into the final days of the Time War, back into the time lock in the end of time. He was dying. He needed a new body, as we know. And I think he got desperate to the point where he stole Michelle Gomez's body, and then stole a TARDIS, and got out of the time lock. Obviously, the Doctor then went and saved Gallifrey, so that technically rewrote Gallifrey into the Pocket Universe, and left the Pocket Universe as we know to build the Nethersphere, etc., etc., and know where Gallifrey is, know the coordinates, and etc. So, yeah, my theory is pretty simple when you think about it. She just stole a body, stole a TARDIS, and done a runner.
Yeah. A lot of people keep theorising things that are very overcomplicated, and people think about it too much. But these theories are actually very logical and actually quite simple. But my overall theory is that I believe that John Simm's Master, dying, of course, from the end of time, had then went into the Time Lock, and of course the Doctor had saved the Master and all the rest of the Time Lords, and so the Gallifrey had then went into another dimension, and so the Master had stole the TARDIS and then went to Karn, where he had met up with the Sisterhood of Karn and threatened them to save his life, and they only gave him one chalice, whereas the Karn needed the Eighth Doctor to help lead them to glory in the war. But I think that the Sisterhood of Karn were like, screw you, we're only going to give you one chalice, and it's a woman.
Yeah, so, I mean, the Doctor could have chosen young, old, fat, thin. He could have chosen anybody. He could have customised his next body. Yeah. But if the Master was to have, turned into a woman, surely that must have been the only choice.
Yeah. So I think the Sisterhood of Karn really didn't give him much choice. So he was forced to take the form of a woman.
Unless he didn't even consult them. Unless he just landed on Karn, ran in, and took the nearest bit of Elixium he could.
It was just a woman. Yeah, definitely. So I think he then regenerated into Missy, and then in his TARDIS, his red telephone box, I believe that Missy had then started to whiz across the 11th Doctor and the 12th Doctor's timeline, leading into the events of Deep Breath and onwards.
I mean, the Master's not going to walk in and ask, is he?
No.
He's not going to go in and say, "Hello, Sisterhood of Karn, please may I have an extra regeneration?" But no, he's dying, he's desperate, he's not got much time.
He's going to either kill a Sisterhood of Karn, or he's just going to pinch it right outside the door.
So yeah, both our theories are similar yet different. We both think that she ran away and stole a TARDIS, but the one significant difference between our theories is you think Missy is a legitimate regeneration, whereas I think she's a stolen body, which is very, very interesting.
Yes.
Our theories are very similar yet very different at the same time.
Yes, definitely. We'll have to see if it's at all any of those theories. It could
and if it's even explained.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if it's I just wanted to stress, guys, that these are just theories, okay? These are not facts. We are just putting one and one together from what we've seen from the Series 9 trailer, information that we've been given from Steven Moffat and so forth. So all of these are just theories, and it's very fun to speculate. Doctor Who is all full of wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff, and it's never a straight line, and that's why we love Doctor Who.
Unless it's in the First of the Night.
Yeah,
that was a straight line.
Yeah, or unless it's just in too much of a wibbly line, and it's just all pretty much total mess.
A messy scribble, like the Wedding of River song.
Yeah,
that was up, down, left, right, round, inside, up, down. It was just a freaking mess.
Yep.
It's like the writers just scribbled over the script. There you go.
The script was an implosion within itself. It was so terrible that it imploded within itself, and
it's like the scribble creature from Fear Her. That's what it was. The Wedding of Rivers song is a scribble creature.
I can't believe that in every video we still managed to bring it back to the Wedding of Rivers song.
It's that awful.
Yeah. So then, guys, please do comment in the section below your theories and speculations on how you think that John Simm's master could have possibly gone into Missy. We can't wait to get that little bell in the YouTube feed and hear all of your theories.
Yes, and do comment below the next theory discussion that you want to see us do as well.
Yes, definitely. So then, guys, thank you very much for listening. So then, guys, we hope you enjoyed this video on how it could have possibly went from John Simm's master to Missy.
Yes, how it went from a sidekick. Yeah, anyway. So, do like this video if you've enjoyed it and subscribe to our channel for more Series 9 content. And follow all of these links, the website, the Facebook, the Instagram, the Twitter, the YouTube, everything. Just do it.
Yeah, just do it and go to our website, www.whoarectrareviews.com. It's on the shirt. Guys, yeah.
And comment below your thoughts on how the hell we got from John Simm to Michelle Gomez and any other theories that you want us to discuss, because the theories you give us so far have been brilliant, so keep them coming.
Oh yes, definitely. Could that have been any more gung-ho? Keep them coming! Yeah! So, to complete this, here's me and Matthew doing a Sonic lightsaber battle. Now the Master has become the apprentice.